Start from the beginning. Sorry, everybody. All right. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Master of Science in Secondary Education. In the School of Education, we refer to this as the MSSE. I'm going to start with a PowerPoint that does an overview of the program, sharing some information, information on applications and deadlines, and frequently asked questions. And then I'll turn it over for some Q&A. And we have the submitted questions that anyone who registered, they were able to submit questions. So we have those at the end as well. So like I said, welcome. My name is Alyssa Yesko. I'm the director of the Pathways into Education Center. And in my office, we advise prospective students on all of our undergraduate and graduate programs. We assist with all things teacher certification. I'm going to turn on captions in case, I know sometimes I can talk really fast. So I just thought that might be good. But our office, we're sort of like a one-stop shop for the School of Education. So any questions at all, we're a great place to start. A lot of times we can answer your questions, but if we can't, we can help you find the person who can. We also have Dr. Jonathan Foster here, one of the new faculty members for the department who works closely with students in the MSSE. And Dr. Foster, I'll let you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, glad to see you here. So I work mainly within the math education program, but I'm happy to answer any questions about the MSSE program overall in general. We have some great partnerships with some school districts, and we're excited to hear your questions.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about this program. So before we talk about the program specifically, I always think it's important to just do a brief overview of teacher certification in New York State. I think having that background knowledge helps to provide a good understanding of this program and what it leads to. So in New York State, you need both initial and professional teacher certification. Initial certification can be obtained at either the undergraduate or graduate level. It involves specific coursework as designated by New York State Education Department, student teaching, exams, workshops, fingerprinting. There's lots of requirements for initial certification. At UAlbany, we have programs that lead to initial certification at the graduate level. We do not have any programs that lead to initial certification at the undergraduate level. All teachers in New York State also need professional certification, which is the final type of certification in New York State. So of course you have to have initial first. And then in order to earn professional, you have to have a master's degree plus 3 years of paid full-time teaching experience. You have 5 years from the time that you earn initial certification to earn professional. So in our program, you earn your initial certification at the master's level. So you already have the master's degree that you need for professional certification. So when you graduate, you will just teach for 3 years to earn that professional certification. Let's talk a little bit about jobs for teachers. Right now, the United States as a whole, New York State included, is in what's considered a teacher shortage. In New York State, officials estimate that we will need an additional 180,000 new teachers in the next decade. Jobs as high school teachers, which this program certifies, are projected to grow about 8% through 2030. All areas are needed, but especially special education, bilingual education, science, mathematics, English, social studies, a lot of the programs for the MSSE, career and technical education, literacy, library science, but really all areas are sort of seeing this shortage. So now that brings us to the MSSE program. So this is a program specifically designed for students who do not already hold a New York State teaching certification. So it leads to that initial no prior certifications required. It's most typically completed full-time and provides initial certification and the master's needed for professional to teach a secondary subject area like English or math or chemistry for grades 7 through 12. There are specific admission requirements for each content area. Typically, it involves 36 credits in your subject area. So like 36 credits of mathematics, 36 credits of English, with some more specific requirements for certain subject areas, particularly social studies and the sciences. So if you're curious about those admission requirements or those prerequisites in your content area, if you're curious about those, we can certainly help with that and talk you through it. These are the content areas that UAlbany certifies in through the MSSE. So the sciences, biology, chemistry, earth science, and physics, but we also certify in foreign languages, Spanish and French, and then English, mathematics, and social studies. The coursework, it's a 42 credit program where 12 credits you are learning about foundations of education, 3 credits in technology and media in the classroom, 3 credits of literacy, 6 credits in your specific content area at the graduate level, and then 18 credits of teaching methods and field experiences. Field experiences include practicum and student teaching hours. I mentioned those prerequisites for the secondary education, and I'm certainly not going to read all of these, but this is just to show it. Let's say you were interested in biology as a content area to teach. You would either need a major in biology or 36 credits in biology, along with 3 credits in each of the other sciences, chemistry, earth science, and physics. If done as part of a major, those courses are required for the major. So if a chemistry course is required for your biology major, then you would then that would certainly count. And as you'll see, some of them are pretty straightforward: 36 credits or a major in English, 36 credits or a major in mathematics. The ones that I mentioned earlier, the sciences and social studies, are ones that have a little bit more particular requirements, which I could certainly go over with you individually if you're curious. I don't know, do we have any current UAlbany undergraduate students here?
I'm a UAlbany undergrad.
Good to know. So I am going to talk a little bit about the Great Dane Teacher Pathway. If we didn't have any UAlbany undergrads, I wasn't going to mention it, but it's an awesome opportunity for UAlbany undergrads. So the Great Dane Teacher Pathway is a combined bachelor's master's program that allows you to pursue accelerated admission to one of our approved teacher preparation programs. So our MSSE being one of those. It's not something that you enter as a freshman, so you don't come in as a freshman as part of the Great Dane Teacher Pathway. Essentially, it's a bunch of steps that you'll follow during your time at UAlbany, such as selecting the right major, keeping your GPA up, and preparing yourself for the master's program. And it sort of all comes to a head in your junior year when you apply to the master's program. So instead of waiting until you're a senior to apply to the master's, you would apply to the master's program in your junior year to be able to start integrating up to 12 credits of master's level coursework into your senior year. Any of the graduate courses that you take in your senior year can double count, and your certification would be earned after you complete the master's degree. So some benefits of combined programs, particularly through the Great Dane Teacher Pathway: you save money because you pay undergraduate tuition for the 12 credits of graduate coursework that you take at the undergraduate when you're still an undergraduate student. It helps to ease the transition to graduate school. So you get a taste of graduate school during your senior year so that you know what to fully expect. Early assurance that you have plans for graduate school. So in your junior year, you're already going to know, I'm accepted into a master's program. You do not have to reapply. You are already accepted. So a lot of your friends in their senior year might be scrambling, like, what am I going to do after graduation? You already know. Support from both an undergraduate and a graduate advisor to help you through your senior year and to make sure you're making all of the right course selections. And again, you graduate from the master's program with the requirements you need to earn teacher certification. So with the Great Dane Teacher Pathway for the MSSE, you have to have a major in one of the majors listed here. It does not, so if you are interested in this program and you don't have one of these majors, you wouldn't be eligible for the Great Dane Teacher Pathway, but you might still be eligible for the MSSE once you graduate from your program if you have the appropriate credits. Like, for example, you're a political science major with a minor in history. You may still have the credits needed to do the the MSSE for history, but you wouldn't be eligible for the Great Dane Teacher Pathway. So I hope that makes sense. These are the majors needed for the Great Dane Teacher Pathway, not necessarily for the MSSE. So again, earn certification for 7 to 12 in your subject area, apply for the master's program in your junior year, begin taking graduate courses in your senior year, work with your advisor, work with the PI Center to plan your coursework. You may have the opportunity to take summers off in the master's program or lighten the semester course load during the program. So the master's, the MSSE, some semesters there are students taking up to 12 credits, but if you are able to get some of that coursework done in your senior year, you might be taking 9 credits that semester. So just a little bit of a lighter load your way through. Some frequently asked questions. How long does the program typically take? The program lasts 16 to 18 months, beginning in either the summer or the fall. This is true whether you go through the program as a traditional graduate student or through the Great Dane Teacher Pathway. It is the same length of time, and it is a cohort-based program where everyone graduates at the same time at the end of the second fall semester. So typically, it's 5 continuous semesters. So it's summer, fall, spring, summer, fall. And then your last semester, that final fall semester, is focused on full-time student teaching. Can I complete the program part-time? The program is designed to be completed full-time. It could be possible to complete some of the coursework requirements in the beginning of the program part-time, but if that's something that you're thinking about, something to keep in mind is that certain courses are only offered during certain semesters. And some courses are prerequisites to other courses. So if you go part-time, it will add time to completion at least 1 year, potentially more if you are taking very few courses to start. Students cannot complete subsequent semesters, so those later semesters where you start your time in the school part-time due to the practicum requirements, the time needed for you to be in the schools. What if I don't have all of the necessary prerequisite credits for my content area? So what if I don't have 36 credits yet in English? I only have 24. We recommend that students work toward taking the additional coursework that they need as they prepare the application process. So if you are still a college student and you have some flexibility in your upcoming semester, that would be a great place to place those courses. If you are out of school and you've graduated from college already, but you still don't have those credits, you can take them as a non-degree student. Students can apply with a 9 credit deficiency in those prerequisite requirements, but those courses would need to be completed during your time in the MSSE, which is already a full-time program. So that's why we often recommend get them done ahead of time, if at all possible. We don't typically conduct full transcript reviews prior to enrollment to see if you have all of the courses, but we can certainly provide some guidance. So if you reach out, it's something we should be able to help with. How and when are courses offered? The program is not a fully online program, but depending on the semester and the course instructor, some courses may be offered online. Many courses offered in early evening time. That's the typical offering time. And then a sample course sequence would be in your first summer, 6 credits. In the first fall, 12 credits, which includes 100 hours of pre-practicum in a school. In the spring semester, 12 credits, including part-time student teaching. Over the summer, 3 credits, and then in the fall, 9 credits of full-time student teaching. Now, you might be wondering, but I'm planning to start in the fall. How does that work? These 6 credits that are typically taken in the first summer would then be dispersed throughout your time in the program. So maybe taken in the having a heavier course load in the second summer, or if it's offered maybe during your final fall, although they do like you to stay focusing on the student teaching in that final fall semester. In what ways can I fund my graduate studies? So there are university-wide scholarships offered. There are also School of Education specific scholarships. Those are offered. I like to mention those because there's a smaller pool. You're only applying against students in the School of Education. It is one application where you can apply for any School of Education scholarship that you are eligible for. So you submit one application and you're able to apply for those scholarships, each year. But as far as any other questions about how to fund your graduate studies, the best place to get that information would be from our Office of Financial Aid or our graduate admissions office located within the graduate school. Here's some information for applicants. So application requirements include transcripts from all schools attended, 3 letters of recommendation with at least 2 letters from professors. And the reason that they want those letters from professors, they want to hear about your academic capability and your potential to be successful at the graduate level. It would be great if we could hear from professors in your content area, or maybe if you've taken some education coursework, that's another great professor to ask. A 3.0 GPA or higher. If you're interested in the combined program through the Great Dane Teacher Pathway, it requires a 3.2 GPA or higher, a statement of background and goals, and again, those prerequisite course or credit requirements for your content area. To begin, you can start in either the fall or the summer. There is no spring start. And the deadlines are the same. So in December 31st, you can apply for fall or summer. March 1st, you can apply for fall or summer. You would be contacted for an interview if the admissions committee wishes to pursue your application further. So the first part of your application is transcripts. If you have previously attended UAlbany, you do not need to request a UAlbany transcript from the registrar's office to be sent to graduate admissions. That automatically gets sent over, but you would need transcripts from all other institutions. Your GPA is considered from all institutions and levels. So they're looking at coursework. If you've taken classes at multiple institutions, they're looking at all of those GPAs to see if you meet the GPA threshold. You can upload an unofficial transcript to your online application from other institutions, and your application will still be reviewed. Just know you will need official transcripts in order to enroll and be officially admitted. So we need official transcripts anyway, but let's say for the time being, all you can get are the unofficial transcripts. That's okay temporarily. There's great instructions on what to do with your transcript on the graduate school website. I'm actually going to pull that up. So if you go to, I'm super fancy and I will just Google UAlbany, the graduate school. This is the website. So if you go to admissions right here, and then apply to a degree or certificate program, not only is this a great place to start your application, so the button to apply now is right there, but it specifically goes through all of the steps, how to use the application portal, and then also the instructions for each of the application materials, how specifically to upload them, how to get them to UAlbany. So like for transcripts, it gives you the email address or the mailing address. And so all of the instructions are right here. It's really helpful, this website. Letters of recommendation are submitted directly through your online application portal. So you have an online application that you're working on, and you will submit contact information for each of your recommenders. And then the system will send them an email with a link and instructions on how to enter their letter of recommendation for you. We recommend that letters of recommendation be specific to the program you are applying to whenever possible. Like I mentioned, letters of recommendation from professors should speak to your, we want those so that we can learn about your academic capabilities, your potential for success at the graduate level. Now, let's say you've been out of school for a really long time. Your professors might not remember you, that type of thing. If you've been out of school for a long period of time, professional references are acceptable. But can your recommenders still speak to the characteristics and skills that would make you a successful graduate student? Have they seen your writing skills or your ability to seek out and answer questions? Have they been able to observe anything that would lead them to believe that you would be successful in our program? This option should not be utilized if you're a recent graduate. We would look and be like, wait a minute, this person just graduated. How do they not have any recommendations from a professor? So this is really only in certain circumstances. This is like more of a personal recommendation, but give your recommenders plenty of notice. So if you are planning to apply for that December 31st deadline, ask them now. Ask them right now, actually. And then also, I always recommend you give them a hard deadline ahead of the application due date. Could you please have my letter of recommendation submitted by December 15th? That way, if December 31st rolls around and you have everything ready to go, you're not waiting on someone else. It is something that's out of your control when they submit that. So if you can give them a hard deadline ahead of the application due date, that's just a personal recommendation of mine that I have found to be helpful over the years. Your statement of goals or any written components of your application. For us, we use this to determine if you're a good fit for the program. We want to see what you have to offer our program, and it's also a great chance for us to evaluate your writing skills. So use spell check. For you, this is your chance to brag about yourself, to tell us who you are. Tell us about your background and your skills and what you hope to get out of the program. Why do you want to teach at this age level? Why are you passionate about the subject area that you want to teach? Why did you choose this particular program? So this is your chance to just basically tell us about yourself. It should be purposeful and to the point. These statements are typically 1 to 2 pages. Do your research on the program that you're applying to. Know what this program has to offer and talk about why it's a great choice for you. There's many helpful online resources on how to write a statement of goals, and your previous institution's career center may also be a good resource, even if you're an alumni. So why choose UAlbany? We have wonderful programs. I'm an alumni of UAlbany, their graduate programs, so I can speak as someone who went through the programs somewhat recently and had a wonderful experience. But we're continuously ranked among the top schools of education in New York State by U.S. News and World Report. We're ranked number 4 in online education programs in the US. And I mentioned that because there's a good chance you'll be taking at least one online course here, and you'll be getting some great instruction through that online course. It's an excellent value as a state school and an investment in your future. We have a legacy of contributing to the field of education. UAlbany actually started as a school of education. That's our origin. And then in this program, the small class sizes and close connection to faculty and other students in your cohort allow you to create a community that sort of lasts during your time here and supports you through your program. You get great support. So we have advisors who are experts in their field, providing advice and career development throughout your time here. You get support throughout your practicum and student teaching. You are never responsible for finding your own placements for student teaching, although our director of field placement is excellent, and she will certainly keep your interests and goals in mind. There's faculty and staff with working relationships with schools and other community partners as well. Where to find more information? A big one is the MSSE program page. I'm sure if you're here today, you have visited this before, but there's some great information about the program. There's some excellent information about when the program is, when the due dates are, what the application requirements are down here. Up here, you'll see those subject-specific content area requirements. So the number of credits needed in each content area to teach. And then another thing I want to point out is that it's sort of hidden on this page, but it's the link to the graduate bulletin. This allows you to take a look at the different requirements. So here are those prerequisite requirements for the program, but also the program of study. So here are the courses that you would be taking. So just to learn a little bit more about what your time in this program might be like. So those are some great websites to visit. And then the Pi Center, that's my office, right? Like I said, we advise our prospective graduate students and our alumni. We help with anything related to teacher certification. So I may talk to you before you start your program, but I'm also going to talk to you as you complete your program to talk with you about how to apply for certification and help you through any of those hurdles. So you can email us. We are very responsive to our email. You can call us. We would also meet with you via Zoom if you wanted to have more of a personal conversation. That's what we're there for. I'm going to address the questions that were submitted first, but I do see there's a lot going on in the chat and I have not checked that. So I will in just a moment. But first,
that was mainly just me, Alyssa, just copying those links.
Just like supplementing some of, okay, thanks. I just want to make sure it wasn't like a bunch of questions that I'm missing. These were the submitted topics or questions. So the first question is, would I be able to transfer credits from this program to another graduate school? I can answer that question. The answer is we can't speak to what another school would accept. I will say, like, typically graduate credits, we are an accredited institution. Our graduate credits have been successful in being transferred to other institutions, but I can't speak on behalf of another institution to say, yes, we would accept UAlbany credits. So you would have to check in with another institution if you were hoping to transfer. The next question, are there any opportunities to be accepted into the program if you have an undergraduate GPA below 3.0? Is there someone who can speak to that?
I could.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rory.
Hi, Rory.
It is possible. We are, so your applications are reviewed by human beings who make judgment calls. The state's requirement is that generally on average 3.0 is the minimum GPA for our program. That means that there are times when people with a GPA in the high, let's say 2.8s to 2.9s have been accepted in, but it's been with the noticing that like they had a really bad start in their undergraduate degree and they had near a perfect GPA for the last couple of years. The GPA in their content area is really high. They just decided they were going to take some courses they found interesting and they didn't do really well in those, and had a couple of really bad grades that pulled down their overall GPA. So your apps are reviewed by real human beings who make those decisions. So definitely possible, but makes it easy on us if we don't have to justify our decisions.
Yeah, and I'll just build off that, Roy, too. Like anything that you can do in your application letter to contextualize that. So maybe it is below a 3.0, like what was happening personally. Maybe did you have a medical condition that was affecting your performance? So anything that you could add into your letter to help contextualize maybe like why it's below a 3.0 and why you still feel like you would be successful in the program would be very helpful to the humans, us reading those letters.
Thank you, guys. So we have another question. This question, can the program be accelerated, i.e. can it take fewer than 1.5 years? I think the person who was asking this question holds a master's degree in their content area. I can answer this. Unfortunately, no. The program is designed to work in a sequence. And so the courses build off of each other. So you take these courses before the next set of courses. Also, the practicum and student teaching experiences are only held in certain semesters. So you have to do your pre-practicum in the fall, followed by your part-time student teaching in the spring, followed by your full-time student teaching in the final fall. So 1.5 years is the quickest that you can get through it. But I will say the program does accept transfer credits. So if you've taken previous graduate courses that would apply to the program, you can certainly lighten your course load in the program. So for example, all students need 2 courses in their content area. So if you have a master's degree in English already, we may be able to accept those 2 of your courses from your English master's degree as those 2 content courses, and you wouldn't have to take those during your time in the program. Did I cover everything there?
Yeah, really well. I think that there's always been that distinction for people that do hold master's degrees in their content area, where they're like, well, surely I must be closer, but the education degree is entirely separate in most ways, right? That it's really a degree in teaching, and the program is already really kind of jam full at the 18 months. So sadly, yeah, you covered it. Perfect.
I wonder, Roy, though, could you speak to like the internship option in that fall semester of the last year?
Yeah, sure. There is a possibility of, rather than doing a full-time student teaching position, that you may be accepted as an intern in a school district. This usually requires the school district reaches out to most of our students, right? And you actually get hired so that you are working, instead of just being a full-time student, you're actually a full-time teacher and really just taking a final capstone course and finishing your portfolio for the program as part of that last semester. So it's not uncommon. In fact, it's becoming increasingly common. I would say 25% of the current students we have in that final year are actually under internship certificates, just because the need is so great for teachers.
And I'll add, so I work with the students who apply for the internship certificate. I do just want to specify there are a lot of like specific both New York State Education Department and university requirements. So the stars do have to align in order for that to work. Like for example, some of your student teaching hours have to be done in a middle school and some of them have to be done in a high school. If you don't have any high school experience and you're being offered a full-time position in a middle school, that wouldn't work for our program or New York State Education Department guidelines. But if we can make it work, and we're always going to try to work with you, right? Like we want to support you if that's the option that you want to pursue. So just know it's not like a guarantee, but it's something that you can do if you're offered a position and if all the other things are in place.
Yeah, so just building off that, if you're looking to see like an accelerated pathway, the internship may be something to think about, but you would want to talk with, coordinators in the MSSE program pretty early to do that.
Someone else wanted us to touch on financial aid. I will just say it's not my area of expertise. I'm not comfortable talking about that. But our financial aid office is definitely the place to go for the most up-to-date and current information. They can talk to you about the current tuition rates, payment plans, ability for financial aid or loans. And so that would be the place to go for those questions. But those were our submitted questions. And then if there are any additional questions, please feel free to either shout them out. I'm happy to answer them, but also you can type them in the chat. So if you have any questions, now is the time.
Yeah, so I remember you had said that the Great Dane Teacher Pathway because I'm a U Albany undergrad, for the senior year, you take graduate level coursework. What are like the, I don't know how to say this, I guess. What is like the properties of those like the credits that we take? And I know that they can double cross or whatever,
Yeah.
but like, would I be able to like, are those like literal graduate classes that I'm taking in my undergrad, and like, will I be able to like transfer them or like whatever?
Yeah, so those courses are the courses that are needed for the master's program. So I showed you guys the graduate bulletin, which I'll share again. Hold on. These are the courses that are required for the MSSE. You would be taking, and you can't just take any course. There are certain courses that are specific to students in the combined program, but you would be taking potentially like this course here. Or
a graduate level content course that's typically an option.
If you're interested in mathematics, like a graduate level mathematics course, a lot of times if you're taking a graduate level mathematics course, it can satisfy a missing requirement for your math major. Even though it's at the graduate level, it can count toward your undergraduate math major. If you are an education minor, an education class that you take can count toward the education minor. So that's the way that they double count, and the courses are master's level courses that are needed for the MSSE. So for example, if you're able to take, this is a 42 credit program. If you're able to take 12 credits in your senior year, when you start the program full time, the master's program, you have 30 credits to complete and pay for, rather than 42. So that's a huge benefit of the Great Dane Teacher Pathway.
Alyssa, we have a question in the chat from Alex. Yeah. Alex is asking, would you be able to get a master's in education at U Albany if your content area is not on the list provided?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, you can get a master's in education, but not one that leads to teacher certification.
Oh, wait, let me just, sorry, could I understand that question? Because the list, if it doesn't have like, if your major in undergrad, so political science is not on the list, right?
I talked about that, Brett. I think they're but I also went over the only like areas that we certify in.
Right. I mean, like I can speak to it. I'm a music major, so like it's not like anything like that. No.
So we don't have a program that certifies in music at the graduate level. But Alex, if you're a UAlbany student and you wanted to come by our office, I can talk with you about how to find a program at the master's level that leads to certification in music. And just so that you know, if music is the only area that you're interested in being certified in, nothing that you learned today is useless, because a lot of this information applies at other graduate schools and is definitely good to know.
I want to say hi, everybody, because I came late, and I'm Brett Levy. I'm the director of the program, and I'm just so glad you're all here. So glad you're interested in teaching. I think teaching is a fantastic profession, very rewarding. It's great to work with kids. If you love your content area, if you're interested in your content area and you like working with kids, it's a great profession. So I hope you apply to our program. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions either now or in the future. You can reach me at blevy@albany.edu. I'll put that in the chat.
I'm putting it
Of
in there
course,
right
I'll
now,
listen to
Brett.
Okay. You're doing it?
Yep.
Oh, thanks. All right. And I'm the social studies advisor, in case if any of you are social studies and excited about that, you'll be working directly with me.
Any other questions?
I know we had the question about financial aid. Rory, you may know this better than I do, but I know there's a new scholarship program through the New York State, specifically with STEM. And what I understand is if they get this scholarship, it will pay for their undergraduate degree and also their master's degree, but they have to do a certain number of years inside New York State public school. Is that correct?
Yes, but the details are still a little sketchy. Unfortunately, whenever there's a government program, what often happens is it's very vaguely worded, and then it starts to frame itself as people apply for it. So I don't know how much I would count on that, because it's also a little it's interesting the way it's worded for teaching. It's a little it looks like it may also be included kind of thing rather than being a STEM career path thing. So I don't know if we should bank on that.
Yeah, I think this is something that you could send a follow-up email to. I think Jonathan would probably be would that be okay with you, Jonathan? Yeah. And then you can get a solid answer on that, because that is, if that seems like a really, that could be a tremendous opportunity for you. So if you're serious about being a STEM teacher, we certainly need more STEM teachers, especially if you're coming here because you're an UAlbany grad. We love UAlbany grads in our program. Probably means you're really good at your content area. So we'd love for you to be able to get a scholarship like that. We also have the Carson Carr scholarship. Rory, Alyssa, you know about that one?
Is that one of the School of Ed scholarships? Because they talked about those.
Yeah, that's one of the ones for underrepresented minorities. Yeah, so there's that opportunity as well. So there's a wide variety of scholarships available. That's a varying degree. So if you want to know more about that, you can follow up with us, and we can look at the full list for you. There's a really big list, actually. Some of them are small, but then the one that Jonathan talked about, through the state would be much larger.
I have two more questions. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So my relatives keep asking me oh, how are you gonna get because I have a few relatives who are teachers in other states, and they keep telling me and explaining to me how they were able to get their teaching certification as they were in school. So the initial certification and the professional certification, that's new to me. So would the initials, if I was explaining this to my mom or dad, the initial certification would be a baseline type thing, and then the professional thing is okay, I'm good and I could go wherever I want, right?
And yeah, your initial certification allows you to teach. So you're certainly able to work under that certificate. And then the professional certification is the permanent certification. So if you had initial certification and did not earn professional, your initial would expire and you would no longer be able to teach. So the professional is sort of that security certification that keeps you certified throughout your career.
And that's pretty common in most states. You'll go through initial certification, and then there's this formal review process where you have to add on some certain credentials. So like in New York, you have to have a master's degree. The great thing about the Albany program, you already have that requirement checked off for your professional certification. You just sort of have to go through that formal review by your school district, and they'll make the recommendation of whether or not you get professional certification.
So Ben, you graduate from the program, you earn your initial, you get a job, you teach for 3 years, and then you would apply for your professional, and then you would earn your professional.
Right. Okay.
Just
So
a
there are a lot of
follow-up
people who
question.
get their initial certifications elsewhere, but then they end up coming here for one of our master's programs. We have a CDIT program that people can do on the internet, completely online, and they're from all over the state, and they've gotten their initial elsewhere, but they need it, they're sometimes desperately trying to finish the program really fast so that they don't lose their jobs. So it's really great in the MSSE program that you don't have to worry about that, because you have your master's degree and then you can just go full in and you're really well prepared for the teaching experience.
Stephen, you had a question as well?
Yeah, it was a follow-up question to what Ben was saying. Or follow-up to what you were saying, I guess. You said for the initial certification expiring, what's the like the timeline on that?
You have 5 years from the time that you earn initial in order to earn professional.
And the professional takes 3 years?
3 years of paid full-time teaching experience. So
it's
in
kinda like
5 years, you have to have the equivalent of 3 years of teaching experience.
So you kind of have a 2-year leeway
Yeah,
where
pretty
you would
much.
have to start. Okay.
And then I will say New York State has, because we are experiencing this teacher shortage, they have been really generous at creating some new time extension and initial renewal options for students. So I have had instances where students have graduated from one of our programs and maybe started a family and didn't start teaching immediately, or other life circumstances came up. And so they've created ways for students to keep their initial certification through different processes in order to extend the time if needed for professional. But generally, most people do it within those 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Hi, my name's Samantha. I'm sorry I'm joining this so late. Work kind of grabbed me. I have a master's in history from UConn, and I'll be retiring from the job I'm in now. So I'm kind of like your non-traditional.
Yeah.
So I don't, should I be speaking with you all in pursuing the degree, or am I supposed to go through somewhere else? I just want to make sure I'm in the right place.
You're in
Yes.
the right place. You're
Yeah,
in the right
certainly.
place. Yeah, we love it when people have strong content background. It's really fantastic. So I'd be glad to talk to you later, but to just give you the summary, we've had a good number of students come through with master's degrees in public history, anthropology, and it just really is helpful to have that content knowledge when you're getting ready to teach. So it's great. And it also takes off 2 of the courses you have to take in the program, because you don't have to take the advanced content area courses, which all of our MSSE students have to take in order to become certified.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm also kind of a weird student because while I got my degree in history, I've been spending the past 20 years doing cybersecurity. So it's random.
Interesting.
All right. Well, you'll have a lot of life experience to bring to your students in the classroom. And I think that can be really useful for 15, 16, 17-year-olds to have an adult that they see who's done a variety of things. That's how many of us live our lives. And so that I think that's totally fine. And we've had other students like that too. I've taught plenty of non-traditional students in my time in teacher education. So we welcome that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, I just had a question regarding if I'm starting as a non-matriculated student, if there are any ways to go from there to transfer into the program, either in the summer or the fall semester, if I started as a non-matriculated student in the spring semester?
Yeah, so if you started as a non-matriculated student in the spring and took let's say 2 classes, those would just be 2 fewer classes that you would need to take during your time matriculated in the program. So again, like there is no real way to speed up the program, even taking courses as a non-matriculated student, but it certainly will allow you to have a lighter course load once you join the program full time. So there's certainly benefits to that, especially if you're just like, let's say you're graduating in the fall or you're no longer in school and you're just like itching to get started. Just keep in mind that taking non-degree courses doesn't guarantee your admission into the program. But yeah, absolutely a wonderful option.
Perfect. Yeah, because I graduated, I got a bachelor's degree back in 2019. I've been just doing some student teaching assistant here and there at my district. And I'm coming back. I sort of want to start off as a non-matriculated student just to sort of get my hands back into the courses a little bit. And then from there, sort of see a path that I could take going forward from there.
Totally understand that. And then if you apply as non-degree, you would work with someone in the department to make sure that you're taking courses that will count toward the MSSE once you do apply for that. So we're going to help you and make sure that you're taking all the right classes too.
What's your
Perfect.
subject area, Dan? What's your subject area?
I was at Utica. I studied physics back in Utica.
Great, great. Yes. Well, we need good science.
So
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, and that it does allow you. Then Alyssa just mentioned having a lighter course load during the program, you know, if you take courses earlier. So that's a huge benefit. So if you wanted to continue, if you were local, you know, in the fall and you were admitted and you wanted to continue to be a TA or work in schools or do a different type of position, then it would be easier to do that with a lighter course load. So there is a benefit to, you know, getting some courses out of the way. And that would also be the case for Sam with her master's degree in history, you know, cutting out a little bit of the coursework that we typically require.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm also wondering, as far as multiple disciplines of teaching, like is it common for people, let's say for my case, since I study physics, would it be uncommon for people to also pursue teaching math and then becoming like dual certified and teaching both physics and math? Or is that something that's more
That's a great question. And it's like I work with a lot of MSSE students on this very question. So something that I will say, typically in order to add a second content area, so you can only select one content area to become certified in through this program. So if you were going to pursue certification in a new area, that would be done after you earn your certification through the MSSE. Typically, you need 36 credits in the additional content area that you want to become certified in. They recently, last year, made it easier to add a second science certificate by reducing the number of credits. So let's say you were to become certified in physics, you would then need only 18 credits of chemistry, biology, or earth science in order to add a second science certificate. Again, because of that teacher shortage in the sciences. But like there are some students who were dual majors. I majored in history and English. I'm going to go through the MSSE program for history, but I have 36 credits of English. So once I graduate, I'm going to apply directly through New York State for that English certification. And a lot of times you'd need that coursework and a content exam in English. So the process happens after you graduate, but our office walks you through that process.
All right, yeah, that's perfect. And yeah, I was thinking of focusing on physics and then maybe down the line, if I wanted to see if there's a way I could teach math too. But yeah, I think that is perfect. Thank you.
Of course. That's a great question. All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us this afternoon. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this provided some good information. I'll always say this at the end of every information session. I hope to see some of your names come through as applicants. That would be wonderful. And yeah, thank you to representatives from the department for being here and for offering your the information that you have to share. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you all. Hope to see your applications soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Good day.
Bye. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dr. Alyssa.
Bye, Sarah.